Have you ever wondered how a team can become so powerful that even losing world-class players barely seems to matter? What if I told you that the Springboks already possess the deepest talent pool in world rugby? But according to Rassie Erasmus, it should have been even stronger. That's right. The reigning world champions may have missed out on an entire generation of talent, and the reason has nothing to do with coaching, selection, or injuries. Instead, it traces back to one of the most disruptive periods in modern history. And now, years later, the consequences are still being felt. While most rugby nations are desperately searching for depth, the Springboks seem to have an endless conveyor belt of elite players. New stars arrive almost every season. Veterans leave, and somehow the team remains just as dangerous. But hidden beneath this success story is a problem that few people have been talking about. A missing generation. A gap that could have changed South African rugby forever. And the man revealing this incredible truth is none other than Rassie Erasmus himself. For years, rugby fans around the world have admired the incredible strength of the Springboks. The team has won back-to-back Rugby World Cups, dominated many of the biggest rugby nations, and created a culture where competition for places is fiercer than almost anywhere else on the planet. The depth is astonishing. In many countries, losing a star player can cause panic. For South Africa, it often feels like another elite replacement is already waiting. That didn't happen by accident. According to Rassie Erasmus, the foundation was laid more than a decade ago. Back in 2013, South African rugby leaders started building what would become one of the most successful player development systems in world rugby. The objective was simple: identify talent early, develop players properly, create a pathway from school rugby all the way to the Springboks. It sounds straightforward, but executing it required years of planning, investment, and cooperation across multiple levels of the game. The rewards didn't arrive immediately. Development takes time. Young prospects need years to mature physically, mentally, and technically. But eventually the results began to appear. By 2019 and 2020, South Africa started seeing the benefits of that long-term vision. The national team was stronger. The player pool was deeper. Competition for places reached new levels. Everything seemed to be working perfectly. Then the world changed. COVID arrived. And according to Rassie Erasmus, that period created damage that still affects South African rugby today. Many fans remember empty stadiums and cancelled matches. But behind the scenes, something even more significant was happening. Young players were losing opportunities that can never be replaced. School tournaments were cancelled. Development camps disappeared. Junior pathways were interrupted. Promising youngsters suddenly found themselves without the exposure they needed. For many aspiring rugby stars, crucial years of development simply vanished. Rassie Erasmus believes that some players never recovered from those lost opportunities. Some stopped playing. Some failed to receive professional contracts. Others disappeared from the system entirely. Think about that for a moment. How many future Springboks were lost during that period? How many potential internationals never got the chance to show what they could do? How many careers ended before they truly began? Nobody knows the exact number. But according to Rassie Erasmus, the impact is visible today. He believes there is a noticeable age gap within the Springbok setup, particularly among players between the ages of 22 and 26, an age group that should normally be producing a large wave of emerging stars. Instead, there are fewer players than expected. A generation that missed key stages of rugby development. A generation affected by circumstances completely beyond their control. And yet, despite that challenge, South Africa still possesses remarkable depth. That may be the most impressive part of this entire story. Even after losing potential talent during the COVID years, the Springboks remain one of the strongest squads in international rugby. A huge reason for that is the close collaboration inside the South African rugby system. Rassie Erasmus highlighted the work done alongside Dave Wessels, South Africa's general manager of high performance. He also praised junior Springboks coach Kevin Foote. Together, they constantly evaluate talent, track player development, and update depth charts. The objective is clear. Identify future Springboks as early as possible. Bring them into the environment. Understand their personalities. Assess how they learn. Determine how they fit into the team's culture. For Rassie Erasmus, talent alone isn't enough. The coaching staff wants to understand players face to face. They want to know how individuals respond to pressure, how they communicate, how they adapt, how they grow. That personal connection has become a major part of South Africa's success, and it helps explain why the Springboks continue producing high-quality players year after year. If you're enjoying this breakdown of South African rugby's hidden success story, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel because we bring you the biggest Springboks stories, analysis, and rugby insights every week. Now let's talk about where this age gap might be felt the most. One area stands out immediately: the forward pack. More specifically, the front five. In rugby, championships are often won up front. Dominant scrums, powerful mauls, relentless physicality. These are areas where the Springboks have built their reputation. And despite concerns surrounding certain positions, Rassie Erasmus remains confident about the talent available. Take Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Still a young player with significant potential and years of rugby ahead of him. Then there's Oxench, a proven international who has become one of the most respected front-row players in world rugby. His experience, strength, and consistency make him a crucial figure for South Africa. At hooker, Johan Grobbelaar continues to impress with strong performances and growing confidence. Meanwhile, Malcolm Marx remains one of the most feared forwards in international rugby. Even at 31, he continues to set incredibly high standards. His breakdown work, physical presence, and leadership are invaluable assets for the Springboks. The depth doesn't stop there. Players like Carlu Sadie, Zach Porthen, Wilco Lou, Neethling Fouché, and Vincent Koch provide additional quality and experience. It's a remarkable collection of talent, the kind of depth that many rugby nations can only dream about. However, there has been one position that generated concern among supporters: lock. Injuries and unavailable players led some observers to believe South Africa might be running short of options. Questions began to emerge. Could the Springboks maintain their dominance if key locks were unavailable? Would the next generation be ready? According to Rassie Erasmus, those fears may be exaggerated. One player attracting attention is Riley Norton. His emergence gives the coaching staff another promising option. And if recent history has taught rugby fans anything, it's that South Africa often uncovers new talent just when people think the cupboard is running empty. That ability to regenerate may be the Springboks' greatest strength. While opponents focus on stopping current stars, South Africa is already developing the next wave. While rivals worry about succession planning, the Springboks continue expanding their talent pipeline. And that brings us back to the most fascinating part of this entire story. If this is what South African rugby looks like after losing part of a generation during COVID, imagine what it could have looked like without that disruption. Imagine an even larger talent pool. Imagine even more competition for places. Imagine additional future stars pushing for Springbok selection. It's a frightening thought for the rest of the rugby world, because the current Springboks are already among the most formidable teams ever assembled. Yet according to Rassie Erasmus, the system still isn't showing its full potential. The story of South African rugby isn't just about trophies. It's about planning, development, patience, and creating pathways that continue producing elite players year after year. The missing generation may have prevented the system from reaching its absolute peak, but it certainly didn't stop the Springboks from becoming rugby's benchmark for squad depth. As the next generation continues to emerge, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The future of South African rugby remains incredibly bright. And if the development pathway continues delivering talent at this rate, the rest of the rugby world may have to prepare for an even stronger Springbok era in the years ahead. What do you think? Would the Springboks have been even more dominant without the COVID disruption? And which young player are you most excited to see in the green and gold jersey? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more Springboks and rugby news. Have you ever wondered